Retirement. That's what we're all aiming at, right? But exactly what does that mean? It conjures up visions of endless days of golf, drinks with little umbrellas in them on a tropical beach, feet up, reading a book. Is that what it's all about? I don't think so. Life would get pretty dull after a while without anything meaningful to do, don't you think? I'm Jacquie Doucette, and I'm on a mission to discover exactly what life is like beyond retirement. Join me while I chat with people who've already done it, who've retired to something rather than from something. Let's find out together exactly what's waiting for us when we say goodbye to that 9 to 5. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Beyond Retirement. I'm your host, Jacquie Doucette. Retirement doesn't just free up time, it removes structure. And when structure disappears, many people feel unmoored. Work once gave shape to our days, our identity, and often our sense of contribution. When that ends, the question becomes, what replaces it? In my conversation last week with Andrew Motawala, the founder of The Good Life Abroad, one idea kept coming up again and again: expansion. Not escape, not distraction, expansion. Many people approach retirement travel the same way they approached vacations during their working years. Short trips, packed schedules, and a rush to see everything. I know I did. When you're trying to fit in all the must-see attractions during a week-long vacation, you end up exhausted, checking boxes rather than actually experiencing a place. But immersive travel changes the equation entirely. When you live somewhere for a month instead of visiting for a few days, you stop consuming experiences and start participating in daily life. I discovered this myself during my time house-sitting in Chapala and Oaxaca, Mexico. Instead of racing through itineraries, I found myself doing something I never expected. Just sitting on a bench in the sunshine, watching daily life unfold around me. And you know what? That became one of the most eye-opening experiences I could have had. You learn where locals buy groceries. You figure out public transportation. You develop routines. In Chapala, I joined a pickleball club in nearby Ajijic. That simple decision opened up an entire community for me. I've been back 3 times now, for a few weeks at a time, and people remember me. There's something powerful about walking into a place and having someone say, "Hey, you're back!" And in the process of building these routines, something subtle but powerful happens. You begin to trust yourself again. This matters because confidence in retirement doesn't come from comfort. It comes from adaptation. Each small challenge, navigating a new city, adjusting to a different language, learning a new rhythm, builds self-trust. And for many retirees who feel their world shrinking, immersive experiences do the opposite. They expand what feels possible. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but I don't speak Spanish. How could I possibly manage in Mexico or anywhere else where English isn't the primary language? Here's what I learned. Language barriers are rarely as insurmountable as we fear. Yeah, I stumble through conversations. Yes, I used translation apps and hand gestures and sometimes just smiled and nodded. But the funny thing is, when you're living somewhere rather than just passing through, you have time to learn. You pick up phrases at the market. You recognize the greetings from your neighbor. You figure out how to order your morning coffee. In Oaxaca, I started going to the lending library, where they hold Spanish-English conversation times each week. They call them intercambio. I wasn't fluent, not even close. But I was trying, and that's what people responded to. Eventually, I became a volunteer there, helping newcomers navigate the library and the community. The language barrier that seemed so daunting before I arrived became just another part of the adventure. And here's an actionable step you can take right now. Before you even book a trip, download Duolingo or another language app and spend 10 minutes a day learning basic phrases. You don't need fluency. You need hello, thank you, where is, and how much is. So start there. But travel alone isn't the full story. One of the most important insights Andrew shared was that community, not location, is the real destination. And this addresses another fear people have. Won't I be lonely? Won't I feel isolated in a foreign place where I don't know anyone? The truth is, loneliness in retirement isn't solved by staying busy. It's solved by belonging. And belonging happens when people connect around shared values. In Andrew's programs, people don't just visit beautiful places. They find their tribe. What's fascinating is that many participants sign up for the travel and are surprised to discover that the relationships become the most meaningful part of the experience. I saw this play out in my own travels. In Chapala, I got to know some regulars at a local restaurant, a group of expats who meet every Sunday for brunch. Showing up consistently, week after week, transformed me from a tourist into part of the community. In Oaxaca, walking the same streets each day meant I got to know the local street vendors in the centro. They'd save their best produce for me, their favorite customer. These weren't forced relationships. They're friendships that grew naturally from showing up and being present. When curiosity, learning, and cultural respect are shared values, connections form naturally. These relationships don't require you to be extroverted or socially confident. They just require you to show up consistently and be genuinely interested in the people around you. This is especially important after retirement, when old identities fall away. You're no longer defined by your job title, your role at work, or even your responsibilities in your family. The question becomes, who am I now? Community helps answer that question, and it doesn't require living abroad. Whether at home or elsewhere, the principle is the same. Design your life around relationships and shared values, not just schedules and plans. Now, some of you might be thinking, that sounds wonderful, but I'm in my 60s, or I'm in my 70s. Aren't I too old to be adapting to completely new environments? And aren't I too set in my ways? Let me be direct. This thinking is exactly what keeps people stuck. Age doesn't make you less adaptable. Fear does. And I'll tell you what I discovered in Mexico. The moments when I felt most alive were the moments when I had to figure something out. Learning the siesta schedule in both Chapala and Oaxaca taught me to slow down. I discovered the rhythm of the markets, when they were bustling and when they were quiet, and adjusted my shopping accordingly. None of this came naturally at first, but here's the thing. Adaptation isn't about completely changing who you are. It's about being willing to adjust, to learn, to try something new. Andrew introduced this concept of a joy span, the number of years we have to live with purpose, connection, and meaning. Joy doesn't happen by accident. It's built through choices that encourage growth, learning, and adaptation. Travel, when done intentionally, nudges us slightly outside our comfort zone. Not enough to overwhelm us, but enough to help us grow. That balance, challenge without breaking, is where confidence is rebuilt. And here's your next actionable step. Identify one small thing in your daily life that feels routine and predictable. Then change it. Drive a different route. Try a new grocery store. Attend an event you'd normally skip. Practice adaptation in small doses, right where you are, and you'll build the confidence muscle before you ever book a flight. I also want to address safety concerns, because I know they weigh heavily on people's minds. Is it safe to travel abroad, especially for extended periods? The honest answer is that safety is contextual. Just as there are safer and less safe neighborhoods in your hometown, the same is true everywhere. Andrew's programs are specifically designed with safety in mind, choosing locations, accommodations, and activities that minimize risk while maximizing experience. And when you're living somewhere rather than just passing through, you develop street smarts. You learn which areas to avoid, what times of day feel comfortable, and how to read situations. Again, in my time in Mexico, I never once felt unsafe, but I also paid attention. I asked locals for advice. I didn't flash expensive jewelry or equipment. I trusted my instincts, and frankly, I felt safer walking the streets of Oaxaca at night than I do in some North American cities. Health and medical access is another legitimate concern. What if something happens? What if I need a doctor? Here's what surprised me. Medical care in many countries is excellent, often better and more affordable than what we have at home. Before traveling, research the medical facilities in your destination. Many expat communities have English-speaking doctors. Travel insurance is non-negotiable, and it's far more affordable than most people think. Another actionable step here: before booking any extended trip, purchase comprehensive travel insurance that includes medical coverage and evacuation if needed. Companies like World Nomads or Safety Wing specialize in long-term travel insurance. Do this before you leave, and you'll have peace of mind. And then there's the family piece. How do you leave your children and your grandchildren for weeks or months at a time? This one's personal, and everyone's situation is different. But here's what I've observed. Your family wants you to be happy. They want you to live fully. Yes, they'll miss you, but in the age of video calls and messaging apps, staying connected is easier than ever. More importantly, when you return from an immersive experience, you come back with stories, with energy, with a renewed sense of self. You model for your children and grandchildren what it looks like to keep growing, to keep learning, to refuse to shrink your life just because you've reached a certain age. Have an honest conversation with your family before you go. Set up regular check-in times. Share your experiences with them in real time. And remember, you're not abandoning them. You're showing them what's possible. So, where do you even start? How do you choose a destination? How do you plan for something like this? Start by asking yourself what draws you. Are you interested in art, history, food, nature, languages? Let your curiosity guide you. Andrew's program at The Good Life Abroad takes care of logistics, the planning, the accommodations, the local connections, so you can focus on the experience itself. If you're not ready to commit to a formal program, start smaller. Plan a 2-week trip to a place that intrigues you. Rent an apartment instead of staying in a hotel. Shop at local markets. Take a class. See how it feels to slow down and settle in rather than rushing around. And here's an action step again. Make a list of 3 places you've always wanted to visit. Then research what it would cost to spend a month, not a week, in each location. You might be surprised at how affordable it is. Which brings me to the final concern. Money. Can you actually afford to do this? Here's the counterintuitive truth. Living abroad for a month can be cheaper than living at home. Your mortgage or rent doesn't go away, but if you can house sit, like I did in Chapala and Oaxaca, your accommodation costs drop to 0. Food is often less expensive. Entertainment doesn't have to cost much when you're walking through markets or sitting in plazas watching life unfold. Andrew's programs are designed to be accessible, and right now, he's offering listeners of Beyond Retirement a $100 discount. If you visit thegoodlifeabroad.com and use the code BeyondRetirement at checkout, you'll get that discount. But even if you're not ready for a program, you can start planning. Set aside a small amount each month. Research house-sitting opportunities. Look into destinations where the cost of living is lower than where you currently are. This isn't just a dream for the wealthy. It's accessible if you're willing to just prioritize it. The takeaway from my conversation with Andrew, and from my own experiences abroad, isn't that everyone should live abroad. It's that retirement becomes richer when it's designed around expansion rather than contraction. When we choose environments and experiences that invite curiosity, connection, and learning, the world doesn't get smaller, it opens up. So whether your next step is a month in another country, joining a new community at home, or simply trying something unfamiliar, remember this: joy multiplies when we move toward depth, not speed. Retirement isn't the end of the story. For many, it's the first chapter where life finally has room to grow again. And if you're curious about exploring immersive travel with a community of like-minded people, visit thegoodlifeabroad.com and use the code BeyondRetirement for $100 off your first trip. Take the first step towards expansion. You might be surprised at what you discover. Not just about the world, but about yourself. Thanks so much for joining me today. And that's it for this episode of Beyond Retirement. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed it. Are you ready to start rocking your retirement? Head on over to www.beyondretirement.ca/rocking-it and sign up to plan out your own roadmap for retirement. Don't wait till it's too late.